Hello guys, Guru here again, bringing you another Black Ops 3 gameplay, this time on Hunted with Domination. I'm using the M8 assault rifle, which is, in my opinion, one of the best assault rifles in the game, right up there with the Shiva, the XR2 and the Man of War, but I personally think the M8 comes on top of all of them in different situations, and I'll explain that later. What I really want to talk about today is the guns you're using and map positioning, because both are crucial to your gameplay, and knowing how to play with a gun is really crucial. It's not a case of just liking a submachine gun because you can run quickly with it and then just running around mindlessly. You have to know where to use that submachine gun. Likewise, if you're using an assault rifle, you have to know your map positioning, and you have to know where you need to be to try and get the kills, and where you need to be to try and lock down the spawns and lock down the flags, because if you've got an assault rifle, you can hold people at range, especially with something like the M8, the XR2 or the Shiva. Then you really can hold down lanes from quite a way away if you've got a good shot. So what do I mean by map positioning? It really is exactly what it says. It's your position on the map, but it's something you really have to think about. Now, as I'm using an assault rifle, and you can see I'm pre-aiming that window at B because it's a predominant place that the enemy are going to come from if they've got C flag. I'll come back and talk about pre-aiming in a second, because that is extremely crucial to Call of Duty, but especially crucial to Treyarch games. And pre-aiming is really comes into map positioning. But coming back to map positioning, you can see where I just was by that bit of concrete. That's a head glitch. And what I mean by a head glitch is when the enemy are looking at me, they're just going to see the very top of my head. Whereas as I'm looking at it, it looks like really my whole upper body from the chest up is above the glitch, above the concrete post. Now this is because in Call of Duty, the bullets actually come out of your eyes. They come out of your eyes. So on your screen it looks like you're using a rifle and the red dot is hitting, but it's actually from the enemy's point of view, it's actually coming out of your eyes. So when you're on a head glitch, to you it looks like your upper body is exposed, but it's actually just your head. And now for assault rifles, or almost any gun for that matter, head glitches are crucial because it gives you a dominant position where the enemy has to target your head to kill you. And if you're on a head glitch, you're most likely, the chances the enemy's going to be in the open, ready for you to just pick them clean off. So it's really important to remember that and try and head glitch wherever possible, because it's your cover system. You need a cover system. Like I mentioned in a Call of Duty Ghost video of mine about a month ago, the way I move is very specific. I try and take racing lines, like a racing driver does. I'm trying to minimise how much the enemy can see me. So as I'm coming around here to the left, you can see I'm hugging the left, and I'm coming up to this head glitch. I don't want the enemy here seeing me until I'm at that head glitch, because otherwise they're going to put shots into me and I'm either going to be weak or I'm going to die. I want the enemy to see me as I'm in position, especially with assault rifle, because assault rifles aren't made to be used up close. Submachine guns are. If you're inside a building and you're using an assault rifle, especially something like the Shiva or the XR2 or the M8, because the XR2 and M8 are burst rifles, which means it's firing 3 to 4 rounds every trigger pull, or the Shiva is a single shot, so every time you press the trigger, one bullet comes down. You have to keep pressing that trigger to get more bullets out. Those guns aren't very good up close. M8 you can get away with it, and the XR2 you can get away with it up close compared to the Shiva, but something like a submachine gun up close is made to destroy you, and so are shotguns. So you have to be expecting, if you're going into a small space, if you've got teammates, you want either the submachine guns around you or near you, or pushing that area out for you. Or if you're on your own, you really just have to have that assault rifle and be ultra aware of submachine guns coming into the building or shotguns coming into the building. The best thing to do really is to keep well away from the small spaces if you're not that confident with an assault rifle, and stick to the long sight lines, the long lanes. As you can see, all Treyarch maps are 3 lanes, which literally means there's a lane in the middle, a lane on the left and a lane on the right. Now what 3-lane maps accomplish is not only a fair to level playing field, it's also tactically, it's also put in for a tactical reason, because on the 3 lanes you're going to be spawning at the bottom of one of the lanes, and the enemy are going to probably be spawning at the top of the lane, so you always know where the enemy is going to be coming from, which means you can hold the sight lines. If you've got 3 good players and they're all sitting on one lane each on the same team, with assault rifles holding the A flag to the B flag, which is B flag's always in the middle, then your submachine guns can then go push up near C. But as soon as you push into the enemy's flag, they're going to spawn out, and they're going to spawn A side, or they're going to spawn B side, or they're going to spawn at another C point, maybe on this particular map on the right hand side of the cave. They'll probably spawn out there. So So you need to be really careful about pushing the spawns. A lot of the times me and my friends will have some sort of spawn trap set up, which is where we hold 2 flags and we've positioned ourselves where the enemy are just spawning in the same place, and we can just rack up loads of kills. And in some respect it is unfair, but it's up to the enemy team to get out of that spawn trap. We've all been spawn trapped and we try our hardest to get out of it. It's just the nature of the spawn system. Eventually they probably will spawn out, but you can still rack up an awful lot of kills spawn trapping like that. But a lot of the times teammates who are just randoms will just run into the enemy spawn, the enemies will spawn out, and suddenly I'm getting shot in the back because my teammates have pushed through the spawn. So it's really important to try and remember that, and that all comes down back to what I said is map positioning. You need to know where you are on the map in relation to your teammates and your enemy, and the mini-map is what's crucial for that. If you're not looking at your mini-map at least 50 to 60% of the time you're playing, then you're not playing right. The minimap teaches you everything. It tells you where your teammates are. If you know where your teammates are, you know where the enemy likely isn't. So you can head towards the areas where your teammates aren't and find the enemy. You also can see the red dots of your enemy every time they shoot, so that you then know where they are. It's so important to keep glancing at that minimap, especially if you're playing the assault rifle, because if you're sitting on a head glitch waiting for the enemies to come to you, you can keep looking at your screen, expect them to come to that corridor. You can keep glancing at your minimap, see red dots, and know exactly where the teammate enemies are going to be coming from, and then you can pre-aim. This leads me into pre-aiming. Pre-aiming is when you bring your ADS up, which is your sights. Whenever you bring your gun up and the red dot or the open sight, wherever it is you're using, is up, that is then pre-aiming. What you want to do with pre-aiming is coming up to a corner, you want to have the sight up already, waiting for an enemy to come round, because if you're already pre-aiming, the time it takes for you to then get on target and press the trigger pull is so much quicker than if you've got to bring that gun up and then get on target and get the kill. What really helps with pre-aiming, especially with assault rifles, is the stock attachment. A stock attachment is, on most assault rifles, it's released sort of halfway through the prestige of the gun. It's not too hard to work your way up to get, but it's really worth getting once you do. What it does, when you are ADSing, it allows a lot more movement left, right and forward, and what that does mean is you can pre-aim a lot easier, a lot quicker, so you can be coming around corners pre-aiming at a faster speed than if you're not using stock. And what that does, it allows you to strafe. What strafing is using your left analog stick to go left and right, and it's actually moving your body directly left to right, like crab walking. And with an AR, what you really want to do when you're aiming is to try and get on target and then not really touch the right analog stick. Use the left one to strafe in and out of the enemy, and then that will make it harder for him to kill you, and it will keep you on target because you're not touching that right analog stick. So all you're doing is strafing in and out of the enemy, and it makes it a lot easier to kill them. Something in Treyarch games that makes assault rifles especially dominant is that Treyarch always have really good secondaries. They always have really good pistols. And you notice about 30 seconds ago, I got in a gunfight on B, I ran out of ammo, and I pull my pistol out and I finish him off with the pistol. If you're using assault rifle, the pistol, it's not your submachine gun, but if you're going into a room, the pistol is more than enough to get you a kill or two, and it really is worth using as one of your pick 10 systems. If you can spare a point, put a pistol on. You don't necessarily need attachments on it, you just need something that you can whip out if you run out of ammo and you need to finish the enemy off, or if you've run out of ammo and you're running into a small confined space, you want that pistol. And it's really important to have that pistol. The RK5 is one of the best ones. It's a burst fire pistol, it's pretty accurate and it's pretty powerful, which is something I want to get onto with the M8. The M8 doesn't unlock until level 55, and you prestige at level 55. So you're going to have to grind until prestige and then make the decision whether you want to prestige or not, like any other Call of Duty. But with Treyarch games, you get an unlock token. What that means is when you prestige, you get a token to unlock one thing in the creator class system forever. And my suggestion is to unlock the M8 as soon as possible. As soon as you hit 55 and you prestige, unlock that M8 so you haven't got to worry about unlocking that again until... well, you don't have to worry about it ever again. It's always going to be unlocked, and then your next prestige you can unlock something else that you want. But what you want to be unlocking is the things at the latter part of the level system, because that's the stuff that takes the longest to get. The M8 is so good, it really is that good, that you want to save that thing to then use for your next prestige to help you get through those levels at the beginning up until 2025 when you start unlocking better stuff. So if you unlock that M8, it's really going to help you push through those early levels of the next prestige. And that's about all we've got time for today, guys. Tomorrow's video is going to be with the Pharaoh submachine gun, which is an awesome submachine gun. I hope you watch that video. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Alright guys, bye.